Hi, everybody. Chuck Freeman here, Locked On Brewers. 7 burning questions regarding the Milwaukee Brewers as we head into the postseason. Did I expect the Milwaukee Brewers to be here? And what were my expectations? What are they now heading into the postseason? I expected this to be a 2-team race in the NL Central. Never in my wildest mind did I ever expect the Brewers to be getting to the 90 wins. I thought the winner of this division was going to be 85 wins, and the Brewers would get in maybe as a wild card or even challenge the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals never were part of this picture, and the Brewers, again, I thought at best a wild card, possibly challenging for the division title, but I looked at this as the Cardinals division to win, and certainly they didn't do it, and here we are. 20 games over the 500 mark or so, 90 wins, and my expectations in the last month have moved up a little higher because of the way the team is playing. Yeah, they were meandering around the 500 mark for most of June and July, a couple of games over, and then August hit, and they began to pull away from the pack a little bit, and their offense came around. And now my expectations, you know what, lined in back of my wall here, if you can see all these pictures, it's a wall of disappointment of Milwaukee Brewer history. 54 years of falling short of expectations and hopes. So my hopes going into the postseason, I just want to see them get to the World Series. Obviously win the World Series, but we've been to one World Series in franchise history, and that was like when I was a little kid. So does that really even count? Sure it does, but I'm expecting this team, they could either flop out in the first round or go to the World Series. You just don't know what Brewer team is going to show up sometimes. What players, what batters are hot coming into the postseason? Well, a couple of guys have been carrying this team. Will Contreras, who coming into the season, not a lot of offensive expectations out of him, but he's their offensive MVP. You can't take his bat out of the lineup. If he's not catching, which he does most of the time, and then Victor Caratini will spare him. But then Contreras has got a bat in the 2-hole and DH. Again, he's hitting so well, you want to give him a day off, but you just can't afford to because this lineup isn't very good. Now, the offense has been better since the middle of August, but Mark Canha has been such a great addition to this team. Maybe one of the best midseason pickups, trading deadline pickups in baseball. Wasn't a high-profiled one, but certainly one that's worked out. He's had some great numbers and come through a ton of clutch times for the Milwaukee Brewers this year. The depth of this starting rotation, I love it. It's the fortress of this team. They got 3 guys who you'd stack up against anybody in Major League Baseball. You start off with Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and then you go to Freddy Peralta. 3 guys there who have put up terrific numbers and have mounted up very high. So many quality starts for this team. Woodruff missed most of the season. He came back and he acted like he never took a break. And he was so good. Now he struggled this last Saturday, and the worry there is his velocity is down. Corbin Burns, since July, has been like the Corbin Burns, the Cy Young season of a few years ago. He's been that good. And Freddy Peralta has pitched like an ace. And then you look at 4 or 5, Wade Miley and Adrian Hauser. Certainly those guys could be upper echelon in many starting rotations around Major League Baseball, the way they've pitched this year. But unfortunately for one of those guys, they're going to have to do long relief, maybe both guys. But I love 1, 2, and 3. I'll stack those guys up against anybody in baseball. Even the Arizona Diamondbacks with Zach Gallen and company. But their pitching depth at the starting rotation, really good. My bullpen, the Brewer bullpen, fantastic. Devin Williams, one of the best closers in baseball. Now, Payamps, the setup guy, he has lost some velo recently, leaving balls over the plate. Arm angle has changed a little bit. There's a little bit of a concern there. 8th inning, it can't be leaving balls over the plate at 90 miles an hour, 91 miles an hour in Major League Baseball, especially in the postseason. So Payamps, the 8th inning guy, a little bit of a concern. Figueroa's coming off the injured list, hopefully for the postseason. But everybody else, Hobie Milner, Abner Uribe, a future closer in Major League Baseball, throws 101. Long as he doesn't lose control and he finds the plate, all good. The starting rotation and the bullpen, never an issue. Now, the problem is, the concern I have is hopefully these guys aren't running out of gas for the postseason. And that's the team's biggest strength, the bullpen and starting pitching. The bullpen and starting pitching are so good. And I think that's what's going to have to carry this team, because offensively, you just never know who or when they're going to show up, because they've gone through some offensive slides this year, and then they've come up and put up 12 runs in an inning like they did a week ago Friday. Just bizarre, because they'll not hit for 3 or 4 days and then put up a big crooked number in an inning. But the pitching has got to be there. And like I said, hopefully the rotation and the bullpen won't be running out of gas, because they need the back end of that bullpen and that starting rotation. There is no margin of error for this team. And the greatest strength, the bullpen and starting pitching. Now, what has hurt them in the past, they got the postseason play, 2021, 2019, even the wild card game, 2018, losing to the Dodgers in the postseason in NLCS. They ran out of offense. The pitching was there, just couldn't score any runs. That is what concerns me about this team. Got to be able to put up some runs, got to be consistent. But I know how it is in postseason. Pressure's on. And again, sometimes this team, it's been a trait of these guys for the last several years. Change some of the players in the team, and it still exists. The Milwaukee Brewers have this ability, this innate ability to go through deep freezes. And that's my biggest concern with this team. That's my biggest concern. Don't go into a postseason funk, because the pitching, if it lets up just a little, could be a short series. The series could end in the wild card round. Again, it could end in the World Series. You just don't know with these guys. 2021, I expected further than the division series, but they ran into a very good Atlanta bullpen, and the Brewers dried up offensively. How far can this team go? I really do believe in my heart of hearts that this is a team that could go to the World Series. But again, I would not be stunned if they busted out in 2 games in the wild card. Craig Counsell is manager of the year in Major League Baseball. He took a team that didn't have a lot of high expectations, had won 90 games. It's not a team full of household names here in Wisconsin. Christian Yelich, you can go right down, I think, many neighborhoods in Milwaukee and say, list me 12 guys, the Milwaukee Brewers. They'd be like, huh? 2018 team, you couldn't do that with. 2011, 2008, certainly 1982. But this team, I think fans have come out, but I think they have not yet identified with this Milwaukee Brewer team. But maybe that's still to come in the postseason. They had 36,000 out there on Tuesday night when they were trying to clinch and lost, and then the big crowd coming up last Wednesday when they did clinch, when the Cubs had lost in Atlanta. But this team could go to Game 7 of the World Series, or could bow out in the first 2 games. Their last 3 times they've played the Dodgers, they've lost. They lost in Los Angeles. They played a horrible series in Los Angeles in mid-August, and they got swept in that series. That still hangs in my mind. If the Brewers get by this wild card, they got to go out to LA, who beat them in 2011 or 2018 and beat them a short time ago. And the Brewers just don't seem to be able to hit Kershaw in the postseason. But let's get by the wild card first. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's an extended amount of stay in the postseason, because when postseason is good in Milwaukee, it's great. It's been here infrequently in my lifetime, more so here in the last 6 years. They've had winning teams. They've gone to the playoffs in 5 of the last 6 years, but they have not won a division title since they have not won a playoff series since 2018 when they beat Colorado in the NLDS. So they've gone to the postseason, but they have not had a lot of postseason success. Maybe that'll change. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. So long, everybody.